cooperation exists among the planets. All planets require the cooperation of others for giving results. These cooperators or obstructors are called Pachak, ripener of a dasha, and gives career achievements, education, favor of superiors, name, fame, and friends. If the Pachak planet is friend of the dasha lord, it offers benefic results, and if enemy, it gives some adverse results. A Bodhak planet is informer, it gives results when we make efforts. If Bodhak is friend of the Dasha Lord, it will offer support, and if it is enemy, it will increase struggle in life. Karak planet is the helper or the doer. If the Karka planet is well placed, it helps us in the Dasha, and if it is not well placed, that is, it is placed in 6th, 8th, or 12th, or in debilitation or enemy sign, conjunct with malefics, or aspected by malefics, it gives the diseases, problems, and conflicts during its period. A Vedak planet is obstructor or piercer. If the Vedak planet is friendly to the Dasha Lord, it indicates troubles, change of residence, unnecessary travels, and loss of wealth. And if inimical to the Dasha Lord, it gives good results. The planet placed in the 6th, 8th, and the 12th house from the Dasha Lord are inimical to it. And if the Dasha Lord is also inimical to them, it will give negative results. Planets placed opposite to the Dasha planet always give adverse result. As per Sarvarth Chintamani, for Sun, Saturn placed in the 6th house is Pachak, Mars placed in the 7th house is Bodhak, Jupiter placed in the 9th house is Karak, and Venus placed in the 11th house is Vedak. For Moon, Venus placed in the 7th house is Pachak, Mars placed in the 9th house is Bodhak, Saturn placed in the 11th house is Karak, and Sun placed in the 3rd house is Vedak. For Mars, Sun placed in the 2nd house is Pachak, Moon placed in the 6th house is Bodhak, Saturn placed in the 11th house is Karak, and Mercury placed in the 12th house is Vedak. For Mercury, Moon placed in the 2nd house is Pachak, Jupiter placed in the 4th house is Bodhak, Venus placed in the 5th house is Karak, and Mars placed in the 3rd house is Vedak. For Jupiter, Saturn placed in the 6th house is Pachak, Mars placed in the 5th house is Bodhak, and Moon placed in the 7th house is Karak, Sun placed in the 12th house is Vedak. For Venus, Moon placed in the 2nd house is Pachak, Mercury placed in the 6th house is Bodhak, Sun placed in the 12th house is Karak, and Saturn placed in the 4th house is Vedak. For Saturn, Venus placed in the 3rd house is Pachak, Moon placed in the 11th house is Bodhak, Jupiter placed in the 6th house is Karak, and Mars placed in the 7th house is Vedak. So the Pachak planet and house is inimical to the Sun. The 12th sign or planet from the Moon is inimical to it. The Vedak planet house or house is inimical to Mars and Mercury. The Pachak planet and house is inimical to Jupiter. The Karak planet or house is inimical to Saturn. We'll keep sharing more. Hari Om Tat Sat.